Was Thomas Jefferson an Illuminati? His enemies immediately used this letter against him.
The Federalist Party hit back and accused the Democratic Republican Party, headed by Jefferson and Madison, of being puppets controlled by the Illuminati. The truth perhaps will never be known, but it is worth pointing out that Jefferson's and Madison's party is the direct ancestor of the modern Republican and Democrat parties that have dominated the US political system since the Civil War.
The design of the Great Seal of the USA itself is covered with Masonic symbols. Some even dare say Illuminati symbols. And this seal is printed, of all places, on the dollar bill, the very currency that rules the world.
The Great Seal of the US was created in 1782, and due to its Masonic symbolism, it has been accused of being both Illuminati and Satanist by various conservative and religious groups. One side shows the American bald eagle. The original design had a phoenix, another Masonic symbol. Above the eagle can be seen 13 stars inside a circular design, representing a new constellation. The stars are five-pointed, or pentagrams, a Masonic and Hermetic symbol. It is often linked to satanic worship. The layout of the pentagrams forms a hexagram, or Star of David, another Kabbalistic and Hermetic symbol. On the right claw, 13 arrows. On the left, an olive branch with 13 leaves. Across the breast of the eagle, a shield with 13 stripes. Why 13? Maybe because this was the number of the original American colonies. Or maybe because this is the number of Illuminati degrees. But the most curious details on the reverse side of the seal, where there is a truncated pyramid with 13 steps. The capstone bears the symbol of the great architect of the universe, the all-seeing eye. Underneath the pyramid reads Novus Ordo Seclorum, or New Secular Order, strikingly similar to the Illuminati's manifesto for a new world order. It is also possible to draw a pentagram whose vertices rest on letters M, A, S, O, N, and the all-seeing eye. These letters spell both Mason as well as AONSM, that could stand for Ancient Order, Noble Mystic Shrine, an order appendant to Freemasonry. The pyramid itself is a typical Masonic symbol. The year 1776, in Roman numerals, corresponds to that of the Declaration of Independence, but also to the year in which the Order of the Illuminati was founded. E pluribus unum means from all one, a phrase that has been associated with the Illuminati plans of world domination under a single government.
What part of this is mere chance? How much just fantasy? And what is actually true? Who can say? Though we cannot forget that most of these accusations came from the ultra-conservative sectors, similar to those that still prevail in the United States today. People who are oversensitive, phobic and paranoid, and fans of the traditional sport of witch hunting. The panic generated by Morse's sermons finally dissipated, but less than 3 decades later, a massive anti-Masonic paranoia was unleashed, and this time its members would be pursued relentlessly.
In September 1826, in the small town of Batavia, in New York State, a man named William Morgan disappeared. He was a former Freemason and a swindler who had threatened to write a book revealing the secrets of the secret society. Up until then, many anti-Masonic books had been published, but all of them had been written by outsiders. Morgan's book promised to be the first one written by an insider, and one which would reveal some of their deepest secrets. The Freemasons of Batavia first tried to burn down the print, and then managed to have Morgan accused of petty crimes. Finally, they abducted him and carried him to Fort Niagara on Lake Ontario, ordering him to cross the border into Canada. They said they gave him $500, a horse, and told him to head north and never come back. Morgan was never seen again.
Without doubt, the Freemasons' reaction was horrific, but those were wild times, and America was a wild country. Many suspected that the only journey that Morgan made was to the bottom of the lake. The fact remains that nobody saw him alive again, and the episode ended in a suspicious trial that unleashed the wrath of the population, and a witch hunt followed.
26 Freemasons were accused, and 6 of them faced trial, although not for murder. The verdicts were very lenient. It was widely believed that the district attorney and the judges were also Freemasons. This caused a wave of demonstrations. It began and spread all over the country. Public opinion was once again inflamed.
In the long run, the book was finally published by a daring associate of Morgan's. The paranoid and scandalous tone of the book made it an immediate bestseller. The average American already loved to imagine conspiracies and speculate about invisible enemies. Suddenly, the honorable and prestigious society became a sinister sect in the public eye.
On St. John's Day, 3,000 people went to the headquarters of the Batavia Lodge, attacked the Freemasons, and looted the premises. In every town and village, lists were published denouncing the local Freemasons. In the years that followed, anti-Masonic sentiment spread all over the United States. In the 1832 presidential election, the anti-Masonic party came in third, with 8% of the votes going to its candidate, William Wirt, a former Freemason.
Freemasonry stood accused of being anti-democratic, anti-American, and anti-Christian. A cloud of suspicion was cast over all the country regarding Freemason congressmen, judges, and public servants. It would not be the last time that a ghost enemy would be created in times of elections.
Between 1827 and 1837, Freemasons dropped in numbers, from 100,000 to 40,000. Of the 500 active lodges in New York, only 75 remained. Many went underground and abandoned their annual banquets and parades.
But Freemasonry had thick roots that ran deep. In just a few years, thanks to a certain Albert Pike, it made an amazing comeback. And since that new resurgence, its members would once again reach the highest positions in American society.
Albert Pike was a brilliant intellectual. In 1850, he was initiated into the Western Star Lodge, number 2 of Little Rock, Arkansas, and went on to accumulate more than 130 Masonic degrees. It has been said that Pike was an Illuminati, and also one of the founders of the Ku Klux Klan, though there is little evidence to support either of these claims. It is also said that together with Giuseppe Mazzini, a great Italian Freemason leader, he had planned 3 world wars, at the end of which the Illuminati would take over world power. This assertion is also unproven, but quite popular in websites and books.
Pike brought about a Masonic resurgence through many union-like fraternities and other forms of Masonic social organizations, such as mutual benefit funds. These became prosperous business ventures, quite popular with the American middle class, and made Freemasonry popular once again.
In 1885, the Statue of Liberty was presented to the United States by France to celebrate the former's centennial in 1886. There are those who say that it was really a gift from the Freemasons of the Great Orient of France for the centennial of the First Masonic Republic. The two explanations are not mutually exclusive. The statue holds aloft the torch of illumination, or the flaming torch of reason. It symbolizes the sun. Its official name is Liberty, Enlightening the World. It was designed by a Freemason sculptor named Frederic Auguste Bartholdi. The French engineer who built it was also a Freemason, Gustave Eiffel. who also built the tower that bears his name in Paris. The foundation stone was laid in a Masonic ceremony organised by the New York Lodges in 1884. The Statue of Liberty is a perfect example of how Freemasonry can conceal its messages in clear sight of all. For more than a century, hundreds of thousands of immigrants from all over the world and hundreds of millions of tourists have greeted and admired, without knowing it, a Masonic symbol of illumination.
At the beginning of the 20th century, Freemasonry was once again a powerful force in the United States. The days of persecution were long gone. Many of the key government jobs were back in their hands. Among them, the Oval Office in the White House.
Theodore Roosevelt, president from 1901 to 1909, was master of the Lodge Mighting Cock, number 806 of Oyster Bay, New York. William Howard Taft, president between 1909 and 1913, was Grand Master of Ohio Freemasonry. Warren G. Harding, president from 1921 to 1923, was a degree 33 Mason in Ohio Fraternity, number 26.
With the Great Depression of the 30s, the Brotherhood lost almost 600,000 members. However, Franklin D. Roosevelt, a Freemason himself, brought the country back from the brink of disaster. The Freemasons' prestige kept growing.
The growth of Freemasonry lasted until well into the early 1960s. From its ranks emerged presidents and senators, including Harry S. Truman, president from 1945 till 1953. He had attained the rank of Grand Master of Missouri Freemasonry, the highest degree in the organization. The last president to be an acknowledged Freemason was Lyndon B. Johnson, who was initiated as a Mason in Texas, and whose time in office lasted from 1963 to 1969. Johnson stepped up into office following the murder of the first ever Catholic president of the USA, John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
And then suddenly, Freemasonry lost its popularity. No longer was it a subject of conversation, except for books on conspiracies and dubious websites. Had Freemasonry gone out of fashion, or was it just taking a break after a job well done?
It's hard to believe that a secret society, which has influenced the creation and development of the most powerful state on earth, whose presence is felt in all of that state's national symbols, has been reduced to a mere social circuit, where citizens in exotic clothes practice secret rituals that alternate with bingo events and themed balls. Today, fundamentalist groups, such as televangelists, ultra-conservative Christians, and elected but totalitarian leaders seem to flourish as they once did in the Middle Ages. It stands to reason that their historic archenemy, Freemasonry, would not yield ground that easily.
Was or is Freemasonry a state within a state, a shadow government? And do they dominate the world by dominating its most powerful nation? The United States is a country with the most accessible public information on earth. However, it was built brick by brick, law by law, following the secret principles of a hermetic society that doesn't even open its rituals to the public. A large percentage of the country's leading men were or are Freemasons. In the land of opportunity where all are supposedly equal under the law, how does belonging to this special brotherhood help you in any way? How many American symbols really represent something different to what citizens believe? The vast majority of American citizens hold a job, pay their mortgage, watch the news at 8, and most of them even vote when they are required to. They live under the illusion that they control their own destiny and the destiny of their families. Meanwhile, the all-seeing eye watches attentively from the very currency that they all work so hard to attain.